I find Josh Allen to be a very interesting quarterback. He does some things very well, he does some things not so well. One of those not so well things will be shown on this play, where it's going to be a cover one linebacker blitz that the Buffalo Bills are going up against. And for Josh Allen, he has a receiver running that route right there. It's a route that he likes. I mean, it can get open, once it cuts past the middle of the field where safety is. There could potentially be a window where maybe Josh Allen can make a throw. And if you look, in fact, after the ball is snapped, there is a window where Allen can make this throw. Clearly, that receiver has won his one-on-one matchup, and now that he's about to break to the sideline that's on the top half of the screen, he's going to get there quicker than the safety can. So, there's a chance this can work out, and as we all know, Josh Allen has a big arm. Josh Allen, that's one of the things that was talked about when he got drafted, is his huge arm. However, on this play, he just underthrows it, and it gets intercepted. Quite frankly, this happened a lot. This happened a lot where Josh Allen missed the deep ball. It wasn't just an isolated incident. More often than not, he seemed to overthrow guys than underthrow guys, which that's usually less bad because it results in just an incompletion. Unless, of course, it's late in the game and you need a score, then it's better to underthrow than overthrow. But in most situations, it's better to overthrow. However, in most situations, it's better to just actually make an accurate pass. And it seemed like Josh Allen really struggled, sort of, once a pass got more than 20 yards downfield, his accuracy just wasn't there a lot of the time. I know he got hit a little bit right after this throw, so maybe that factored in. But again, when I show a play, I just show an example of what I've seen on tape. So this is just one example of many. Josh Allen's deep ball accuracy wasn't always there. And in fact, at times, it seemed like Buffalo just didn't even trust Josh Allen. Like, on a play like this, for example, it's going to be a cover one robber that they're going up against, and this is a 3rd down and 5. And so what Buffalo is going to do is they're going to have those two receivers run those two routes right there. They'll cross over each other. This could create a little bit of separation, as that route could definitely be open. I mean, you look at the Steeler who's in charge of covering that receiver, and he's much further to the middle of the field than the receiver is. And since he's already going to be running to the bottom half of the screen, there's a real chance this play can work out on paper. After the ball is snapped, you see that his receiver runs out, although runs a little bit shallow. He doesn't run straight to the first down marker. Maybe it would have been better if he did run on a bit of more of an angle, because as you see, a Pittsburgh player is fastly approaching, trying to make sure he can make this play. And if you look at Josh Allen, he's already making this throw, which to me tells me that this was one of those make this throw regardless. You're doing this before the ball is snapped. I don't care. So Allen makes the throw immediately. Again, puts too much air under it, and and to me, I mean, I think that, having a play where you throw it to, it was actually Devin Singletary to halfback, having a play that's designed to just feed it to your halfback in the flat and hope he can outrun his assigned man, that's the kind of play where I say you're taking it out of your quarterback's hands on a 3rd down and 5, because partially you don't trust him in those situations. There were times when the ball was put in Josh Allen's hands in big situations, but there definitely were times where they wanted to have a running play or they wanted to have a play like this. It seemed like more often than not, they didn't want Josh Allen to lose them the game. Which again, I mean, you could argue is a positive or a negative. I mean, quite frankly, they might just be saying, hey, we have a young quarterback. Let's not have our 23-year-old quarterback lose us a football game, which, you know what, there's totally logic there. I also do feel like he doesn't have the best receivers. I mean, it's not like a disastrous receiving core necessarily, but he could really use a number one receiver. Like, take a look at a play like this. It's going to be a cover one robber once again. That's going to be Cole Beasley's route, which on paper doesn't look like it's going to be too great because it's going to be in the middle of a zone, so it's basically going to be double coverage right here. And in fact, after the ball is snapped, as you will notice, I mean, a Pittsburgh Steeler is going to create some contact, so Beasley is completely tied up. And also, there's another Pittsburgh player who's running over, and he's going to help try to cover up that play. So for Josh Allen, that's where he wanted to throw this ball to, or at least where he was potentially looking, since nobody else is really open. But now he's not open either. So for Allen, his job is to hopefully get enough time to where somebody can get open, specifically Cole Beasley. That's who he's looking at. Again, worth mentioning, this is a 3rd down and medium situation, so he could really use some yards here. Also worth mentioning, there is a Pittsburgh player on the edge who is trying to get around, and he has a chance, but Josh Allen steps up in the pocket and actually makes a very good throw right when Beasley gets open, but Beasley just isn't able to make the catch. And this kind of thing did happen a decent amount for Allen. Not as much of Beasley. Beasley was pretty good, but for the most part, they could have definitely used some receivers that they could have used a guy that in man coverage can just consistently get open. I think teams need that more and more in the NFL, and they didn't have somebody like that. They had some talented players who can get open a percentage of the time, but there really wasn't a go-to guy for Allen, and I do think that hurt him. It really helps a young quarterback to have a guy you can throw it to. I mean, I think about Matt Stafford when he was always throwing it up to Calvin Johnson. That can help you so much sometimes as a young quarterback. So those are some of the negatives. I mean, listen, the guy has some negatives, all right? He's 23 years old. He's not Patrick Mahomes, so he has some flaws in his game. It's okay to point that out, even if you're pro Josh Allen. But he also has some real pros in his game as well, and I think we should point those out as well. Like, one of the things that I really do like about Josh Allen is he really does come through in the clutch. I mean, he kind of has that thing where when the game is on the line, I mean, sometimes it creates some wonky situations. Obviously, the playoff game was just wild, but at the same time, this is the only guy who didn't throw an interception in the fourth quarter or in the red zone. Nobody else in the NFL other than Josh Allen did that out of starting quarterbacks. Like, he made this play. This was in the game against New England when they had a chance to potentially win the division. Didn't quite work out that way. They probably wouldn't have won the division anyways, although actually maybe, because New England did lose the next week, so they had a real chance to win the division now that I think about it. But anyways, at the time, it seemed like it wasn't going to happen, and this play is going to be a cover one robber, and for Allen, he has a receiver running that route right there. It's an okay route against this type of coverage. Worth noting that Josh Allen, the ball is getting snapped at the hash marks on the top half of the screen. It's going to be a throw to the bottom half of the screen, so it is going to be a long distance that this throw has to cover. And at this point, it looks like once the ball is snapped, you see that there definitely is potentially a window where maybe Josh Allen can make this throw, but it's not a huge window by any means. However, Allen says whatever, and he's going to throw it there anyways, and makes just a perfect throw. And again, sometimes he does that. Yes, sometimes he tries to lateral it to an offensive lineman or throw the ball 50 yards downfield to a fullback, but sometimes he makes some unbelievable throws. And, quite frankly, I feel like I'd rather have the 23-year-old kid that can make some really good plays and also will occasionally just make some head-scratching plays, because I trust that in a few years, the head-scratching plays will go down and the good plays will at least stay the same. I know people are going to point to certain statistics, his 6.7 yards per attempt, the fact that he only had just over 3,000 passing yards, but worth noting, he also did have over 500 rushing yards, so that definitely helps a little bit, makes you feel a little bit better. And one other thing that was kind of a problem was this play, and I'm not even usually I like to come up with a point and then find a play that'll explain my point. Well, here I'm actually just showing one play that I thought was a problem. It's going to be man coverage, and what Buffalo is going to do is they have three receivers on the top half of the screen running those routes. So really, it's almost like a rub route where that route can potentially get open. And keep in mind that since there are deeper routes, this now means that the New England player who's supposed to be playing coverage is going to play a little bit further deep. And also, if a tight end running that route right there, this could force the two New England players who are supposed to cover in the middle of the field further deep and can allow for potentially a receiver to run into the end zone. And keep in mind, this is with the game on the line. This is a 3rd down and 10, so, down 4 points, 3rd down and 10 late in the fourth quarter, this is where games are won or lost. And right after the ball is snapped, there is a window where Allen can make this throw, try to lead his receiver, and see if they can try to gain some yards. But the problem is that pressure just happens right away. So it's kind of one of those good situation, bad situation things for the Buffalo Bills. If Allen threw this ball now, there was a small chance it's a touchdown, but there was a good chance that they get the ball inside the 5-yard line at least, which could have made things a lot easier on a 4th down situation. But instead, Allen is going to try to bide some time to try to get the touchdown on this play, and ends up just getting sacked, and that's just so much more difficult having to score from the 15-yard line as opposed to inside the 5. They were not able to pull it off. New England won. And as I said, I mean, honestly, Buffalo would have had an outside shot at a bye. Again, knowing how we know how things work out, not necessarily, but they could have won the division and had a home game. And who knows? That could have made a difference if they played Tennessee instead of Houston. I mean, probably not, but it could have. And so I do think that this is another thing where it's like, I could sit here and say this guy always shows up in the fourth quarter, but he doesn't. I mean, he kind of screwed this play up. And the reason why I'm showing this play is because I think that sometimes to be a great quarterback, you can't hesitate and you have to make these split-second decisions quickly. I'm not saying that Josh Allen will never be able to do this. I'm saying that this is something he has to work on because, I mean, some people like to say, oh, you made a bad pass. You're a terrible quarterback. Don't have that guy, Like Jared Goff has a bad game. Now everyone thinks that he sucks. Jimmy Garoppolo didn't make one pass in the Super Bowl. Everyone thinks that he sucks now. It's just the way it works. I don't think Josh Allen sucks because he didn't make this play, but, it would have been nice if he made it. And if in a couple of years the Bills are trying to make a deep playoff run, he's going to have to make this play. So what should Buffalo do with Josh Allen? I actually have kind of a crazy outside-the-box thought. What if the Buffalo Bills sign Tom Brady? Like, I know that they hate Tom Brady. I'm not sure Brady would want to go to Buffalo, but maybe he would if he felt slighted by New England. Again, it's all speculation of whether Brady will even leave the Patriots. My gut says probably not. But if he did, wouldn't that make a lot of sense for the Bills to just keep Brady for 1 or 2 years? Josh Allen can just learn from him, and then once Brady retires, then Allen can just retake the reins. He'll be older, he'll be better. And plus for Buffalo, you can compete immediately, and you're not putting all your eggs into a 43-year-old quarterback's basket because you still do have a 23-year-old who can come in. I think there's some logic there. I do. I think that actually makes a lot of sense to me. Again, there's the whole cap space situation. I don't know how much Brady will want. I don't know if he'll want to do it, but I just think that would be fun. Maybe there's some flaws in it, but I don't know. I mean, I think let's think outside the box. There's some logic to it, I think. So let me know what you think of that wild theory I have. Just something I thought would be fun at least. And let me know what you think of Josh Allen, because he definitely is a very interesting quarterback to talk about. He's a fun quarterback to watch. And anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.